You know what a lot of people don't really know about me is that I use the mirror principle in order to see $100,000. And you know, people don't really know that about me. They just think, okay, he's the digital marketing guy. He only teaches digital marketing tactics, techniques, things of that nature. He just runs different make money online programs and things of that nature. That's probably all that people know me for. But really, I'm way more than that. I really started diving into personal development. Actually, it was back in 2013 when it first happened, right? I got introduced to a book and it set me on my path to just kind of learning more about me. But then I started realizing that I needed to go above and beyond, and I really needed to see, why am I holding myself back? Because a lot of people always come to me because they're like, yo, how did you make all this money? They want to know the how, but they're not asking who I had to become. And that's where I want to kind of share with you guys something that I learned that has served me very well, which is called the mirror principle. There's a lot of different things out there, but simply put, the mirror principle is like this. We observe something, what's going on in our reality, right? For instance, my life sucks, I'm broke, you know what I mean? Life is not good. I have issues, I got problems, we're observing that, right? Then we project an image, and this image is based off of like attitude, you know, thoughts, energy. It's not your physical image, it's like the internal image that you give off. We reflect this out into the mirror reality, and then after a delay, the mirror reality gives us back more stuff based on how we feel, right? So when I learned that principle, I was like, well, that makes sense, but it didn't really dawn on me. Like I didn't understand, like, well, how do I use it to my advantage, right? And because at first I was like, okay, well then I'll just I'll start ignoring everything. This is kind of why, like, for a little bit, you know, on TikTok, people were saying Delulu is the Solulu, like being delusional is the solution to your problems. And I was like, yeah, but you can't fully avoid what's going on in your reality, right? Because if you don't recognize that you have a problem and admit that you have a problem, then there's no way that you can actually fix it, right? So you don't want to just avoid. But I started to notice this. I started to notice that whatever I'm facing right now generally was a reflection of past attitudes and thoughts, which is really, really weird, because what I used to always do is live like, well, in the moment, of course, right? Because the moment is all we have. But isn't that interesting that you're getting today what you've been projecting? So we're experiencing the moment, but we're living from a projection that we were giving off in the past. I find that hard to believe, right? And that's the thing about the mirror principle. It's like, you do really have to believe in this in order to make it work. But I kept telling myself, well, what if that it was true? You know, I'll never forget Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard, he's a law of attraction teacher. I'm sure you guys have heard of him, especially if you've kind of been on YouTube or whatever. And, you know, what I really liked about Neville Goddard was he was the one that came up with the law of assumption, like assume the feeling, assume that, you know, it's already yours and it'll be given to you. What I really liked about him is he would do these lectures and then he would say, put it to the test. Put it to the test. Go ahead, just test it, right? Like, you know, like these YouTube gurus, all they do is tell you to, oh, do this. They give you like 1,000 different techniques, and then they finally say, but if you want the ultimate way, pay me, right? And what I really liked about, you know, not every one of these YouTube gurus, but most of these YouTube gurus do that shit, right? Instead of just saying, hey, listen, if you need help with this, there you go, right? But anyways, but what I liked about Neville was he was like, okay, try this. And that's what I started to look at the mirror principle. Like I started realizing, I was like, you know what if I just started to believe this? What if I just said, okay, you know what? I can't control what is going on right now, but I can control my reaction to it. I can't control how I feel. I can control everything. It's just like we were taught a long time ago, right? You can control that attitude, right? So I was like, okay, so what if I project this attitude that I'm projecting out, that I'm like, oh no, it's going to be great. Oh, I already got it. But not like, I hope one day it's going to be great. That's a bad attitude, right? Because like, if I'm projecting, I hope one day it's going to be great. I hope this is going to work out. It almost never does. Because once again, the mirror reality knows what the image that you're projecting, and so that it's giving it right back, right? I ain't talking about that attitude where you say, hell yeah, I killed this shit. It's done. So happy we like, man. And then you know what I started to do to help me with this? I started doing like this like gratitude list, but not your normal gratitude list like everybody else teaches you. Not one of those gratitude lists that sit there and say, well, I'm thankful for the oxygen in my lungs and the trees and the grass and my family. No, like that, like I'm talking about like I started taking how I was feeling about something and I would flip it around and slap a thank you on it. So what do I mean by that? So it's like, if my views were down, I would say, damn, my views are down. Thank you for giving me the wisdom to make better videos so I can go ahead and touch more people and touch the lives of the people that need to hear it, right? So what I would do is I would flip it and then I would slap a thank you on it. And I kept doing this to where what it would do is it would shape me to want to really believe that it's already done. And when I started believing that it was already done, all of a sudden the mirror reality started to catch up with me. Now, here's the thing. I made a lot of money and I never really kind of had a viral video, but that was the funny thing about it. When I look back at what I just told you even right now, right? When I was doing those thank you letters, I never said so I could go viral. I wonder how it would have been if I would have asked that, right? But anyways, but I don't care now, right? Because if every day I'm getting the people that need to hear me, then I don't care. You know, you wouldn't believe how many people email me on this YouTube shit. Like, you know, oh, I see you got low views. You need a thumbnail. I don't care. Like, I'm not using my YouTube for that, right? Like I got sales, right? Like, I'm using YouTube just to, you know, incorporate more longer form content, getting out there a little bit more. As you can see, it's not even really edited anymore because, you know, I just want to be able to, you know, help people out there. So that's really what this is all about. But anyways, one, I learned about the mirror principle. Number two, I told myself, okay, if what I'm experiencing right now is a reflection of past thoughts and I don't want to experience this anymore, then I got to start experiencing something different. So then number two, the second thing that I did was I gave myself permission to believe it. I gave myself permission to believe it and to test it. And there's days where sometimes you have to keep it up for a few days. You can't just think, okay, I'm going to be positive today then, and then tomorrow it's going to be great. No, remember the mirror reality usually comes with a delay. When that delay is, I don't know. It's not about that. It's just making sure that, okay, if there is a delay, then I got to keep projecting the right attitude. So, but then I started really working on monitoring my attitude. Am I coming from a place of lack where I'm saying, man, I sure hope this changes later because I don't like what I'm experiencing now? Or do I start saying, no, I already got it. It's done. We got this. Oh, you know, it's done. And when I started to do that, things started to reflect back. I started to show up like my 2.0 version. And when I started to show up like my 2.0 version, then I wasn't coming from a place of lack. So therefore my content was better. My words were better. The actions that I took were better because it all goes back to, like I said in another video, right? If you think of like Roger Bannister, right? He was the guy that broke the mile within under 4 minutes. You know, I mean, he didn't train harder than anybody else. He didn't like have any steroids. Like he didn't, you know what I mean? Like the only difference that everybody looked at, like when they went back and they studied, they were like, well, how did you do it? The only difference is he kind of actually believed it because at the time, the belief was if you ran that fast, your heart would explode. That was what people believed. And they let that belief plague them to where they said there's no way anybody can run that fast because their heart would explode, right? And he just basically said, no, what if you can? I think I can run that fast. And then he did it. And the crazy thing about it is that story, which if you guys heard that story 1,000 times, it's not the fact that he did it. It's the fact that as soon as he did, everybody else started giving themselves permission that they could do it too. And then more and more and more people started doing it. Isn't that funny? Where remember, nobody was doing it before because the belief was if you ran that fast, your heart would explode. Once he said, no, I believe you can, and he did it, then he gave everybody else the belief, and then they started doing the same thing. Insane. So when you know that, think about ways that you can project the image that you want. And I don't know about you, but if the mirror reality was really going to reflect back something to me, I want to give it something good to give back, right? I mean, don't we all, in a sense? Think about when you go work out and you go look in front of the mirror. What do? You kind of say like, oh, look at that tricep, look at that bicep, look at that leg. You know what I mean? Like we do that. We say, oh man, I'm looking good, because it kind of makes us feel good that we're moving in the right direction, right? And so therefore you work harder to make sure that you're projecting a better image. Well, that's exactly what I did, but I did it internally. I made sure that my attitude, my thoughts, and my energy were aligned with where I wanted to go. And then I projected that into the mirror reality, and it caught back up. So guys, you could sit there and try to learn all the hacks in order to make a whole bunch of money with digital marketing and all that. But to be very brutally honest with you, if you're not changing this and you're not directing your state of being, then really you're just spinning around over and over and over. Stop doing that.